Hey, and welcome back to Tending Lambs. I am so excited to get started today. I've been away for a few weeks in the US, having a great time with my family. And now that I'm back on Netherlands time, I'm ready to get back into my videos. So, today's subject is bringing our children into our process with us, letting them learn alongside us. As Christian parents, we are all pretty familiar with the Proverbs verse, Proverbs 22:6, that says, "Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." But we all have a little bit different perspective on what that means to train up our children. But we can all agree that it is our responsibility as Christian parents to do that. We can kind of get caught up in what it means to train. We all kind of tend to think of it as giving information and someone receiving it. Teaching is telling you something or showing you something, and then learning is hearing it and remembering it, or maybe copying someone. But if I think about my own experience and how I learn best, and this is pretty much across the board what I hear from most people, is that we all learn best when we are active in doing what it is that we are learning. Sometimes there are things that we can learn just by hearing and remembering, hearing a fact about history. But to become a historian, you have to learn how to do that, right? You have to be involved in the process. Look at how a historian finds the history and look at how they arrange it, how they weigh details and how they weigh accounts of different stories. And someone could tell you how to do that until they're blue in the face. But as is with most things, it's not going to feel real and be in your bones until you can get your hands on it and do it yourself. And so the case that I'm trying to make for educating our children is to do that, not only with teaching them a task like how to cook a meal, which is also important and much easier if you bring them alongside with you, but also things like negotiation and social interaction and things like that. Growing up, I heard from a lot of parents to friends of mine, and even sometimes from my own parents, that these things are not up for negotiation. And while there are, of course, some things that aren't up for negotiation, boundaries are a must, as I said in my previous video. There are actually so many cases where we should be negotiating with our kids. And this is what I use as an example of bringing our kids into the process to teach them how to do something. Especially as children get older, they feel the need for more and more responsibility and more freedom. And oftentimes we still lay down the law. We give them information, we tell them to obey, and we expect a perfect response of obedience. But this doesn't help them learn collaboration or learn how to negotiate, how to take other people's feelings into consideration, and how theirs should be taken into consideration as well. One way of doing this would be having regular family meetings where you bring issues or problems, concerns, questions you may have to the table, and where everyone equally is allowed to air their thoughts and feelings and opinions. As a kid gets older, in the teen years, you could have discussions and legitimate negotiations about curfew where they actually are given a say, and where you decide on the type of consequences that will come from not holding up your end of the bargain. That's a way to show them how to do that and to teach them how to do that in the confines of your home before they get out and are overwhelmed and feel like they have to fight or they don't get a say in anything. Because really, how many of us feel that way? How many of us feel like we have to get permission to make a decision, or how many of us feel like we have to wait for the approval of others to say no to something or to say yes to something. And I think a lot of that is because we were never given the opportunity to explore that as kids, to learn how to do that. It's the perfect environment to learn these types of things in the home with their family. Things like social interactions, letting kids be in the adult interactions, not treating them as if they have to go off to some corner of the world that's okay for kids and while the grown-ups talk. But this is just another good example of where we should be trying to think, can I wait on bedtime for a half an hour for my 9-10-year-old so that they can come and interact with the grown-ups, even if I have many memories of myself doing this. Even if a child says something that's a little embarrassing because they're new to this, they see an adult crack a joke, and so they want to try their hand at it, and it flops, and it's cringy. But that's wonderful. That's wonderful to see them doing that and to kind of feel and learn social boundaries in a safe place where they're not going to get made fun of, and where they're not going to get penalized for saying something weird or different. So I think that these are just some of the ways that we can bring kids into the fold and into our learning process and teaching them. It can range from cooking a meal with them and letting them hold the knife even though it's scary, and showing them how to do that safely. It's amazing what you see in a child when you give them responsibility and how they take it on their shoulders, and they really take it seriously because they want to be grown-ups. They're going to be grown-ups, and this is when they're learning. It's why kids play Tea Party. It's why they play house. It's why they play cops and robbers. They're out there mimicking reality and learning what these things mean. And it's such a treat for them, and it's so cool for them to be able to do it with the grown-ups in their life, to really be able to practice what they're going to do later. So look for opportunities to do this with your kid instead of just putting it on them. That it not only gives them a sense of responsibility, but it also helps them feel like they're involved and they are really learning how to do this. There is, of course, a lot more that could be said about this. So if you would like to continue the conversation and you're interested in what I have to say or what other people have to say about this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like the video, and find us on Facebook at Tending Lambs and on Instagram at Tending Lambs. And also we have a Facebook group called Tending Lambs Community Group. We'd really love for you to be a part of the conversation. So until next time.